questions really help.
They give you that space.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Sure. I think we're down to Day Day's question.
All right. My question is, share a story about a moment you felt like you had to cover a part of who you are to fit in. And that's what I said too.
Well, before we get started, I just want to thank everyone for being here and being open-minded to come and have dinner with people that you don't know. If there was one thing that someone could remember, or that you wanted someone to remember about you, what would that be? So like, you're meeting someone for the very first time. What's the one most important thing that you want them to remember about you?
I'm Raquel. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and I think if I wanted someone to remember me after the first time meeting me, I'd want them to remember how my energy is. I hope I make people feel like my energy is a nurturing, warm hug to them.
With that, Brittany, do you want to go?
Sure.
Sorry, I just gave your name.
Yeah, so my name's Brittany. I am here from Rhode Island, and I really want people to feel seen by me. I feel like if they're going to remember one thing is that, like, she actually took the time to, like, see me and, like, know me, and that's, like, really important to me.
So I'm Day Day, and I'm here today from Oakland, California. Go Black Panthers. One thing that I really want people to take away from first meeting me is my sense of sunshine. So, and openness to a certain extent, but like, I have a very non-judgmental nature. I don't care who, what, where you are from, how you identify, anything like that. And like Brittany said, instead of being seen, I want people to know that they've been heard.
It's beautiful.
I love that.
Hi everyone, I'm Ellie. I'm from Denver, Colorado, but I'm living in Baltimore right now. And one thing I really hope people know about me is that although I'm quiet, I think that my questions are like a way for me to process. So sometimes when I'm answering with a question, it's just because I'm more curious.
Love that. That's beautiful.
Well, I'm Lawrence. I'm from Denver, Colorado, via Southern California and Hawaii. I just want to spread aloha, and I believe that aloha brings change. And I love meeting new people and hearing stories, and that's a big thing in Hawaii is talking story. To get to know each other, get to know each other's cultures, get to know each other's values, and that's what I want to spread more of.
Share a story about a moment you felt like you had to cover a part of who you are to fit in. So I can't share a single story or a single moment because my entire life has felt like a series of moments where I had to hide, obfuscate, remove, change, blend in different parts of myself that didn't fit into the environments that I was currently in or that I was in at those times. And the place that I am in now, where I'm starting to get comfortable with realizing who I am, all the parts of who I am, infusing all of that into the work that I do, is a special moment in time now where I feel like all of those things that I've had to hide growing up, I never talked about having a disability because I didn't know that you were supposed to talk about it. Growing up in a West African family, you don't talk about your lacks or the difficult issues. You don't talk about problems. You don't air those things out to people who aren't part of the family. So I wouldn't tell my teachers that I was going to be sick and uncontrollably not part of the class for long periods of time. I would just disappear. Or I'd understand what they were asking me of me. For example, when I moved to the US and I was learning English, I remember distinctly in third grade having an assignment in Ithaca where I was writing about Cherokees, their history, Native Americans, because Ithaca is surrounded by Native populations. And I did it. I did my entire assignment, never turned it in. Why? Because I wasn't sure that that's what I was supposed to be doing or that I had understood. And I would understand the words people would say to me, but I wouldn't understand the full context of what they wanted from me and what I was supposed to be doing. So I understood the context of who I was supposed to be within a West African household, but not removed and brought into a new context as an American Black girl child in the US. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And so much is culturally understood, it's implicitly understood that I was like, I have a white mom, a Black dad, I'm adopted, but I'm also not adopted. My dad is my real dad. My mom is my real mom, whatever that means, even though she didn't give birth to me. All of these things. I never quite knew how to place the fullness of who I was in all of the different contexts that I found myself in until recently. So I've spent a lot of time hiding, removing, chopping off, getting rid of all the pieces of myself that I didn't think fit, depending on who I was around. And only now realizing that those pieces all still fit as a puzzle.
I think it's really incredible to watch you share, because as long as I've known you, you've not shared these things, right? Like, for context, Dede I met before she moved back to the States. She was living in Japan. And when you were trying to get a job and move back, you know, we just had a very distant relationship. And then as we became closer and closer, I knew things about the discrimination that you faced or different challenges that you went through, but I didn't know the whole context. And you didn't have a reason to tell me, right? We weren't that close. But the more I got to know you and the more you let me in and you shared things, and the more I realized how much no one knew what was going on or any parts of you. I just think it's really incredible and really powerful that you are feeling like you're ready to start sharing these things, because I think there's so many people that benefit from your power and from the work that you do and from your experience and from your lens. And so now that people can potentially see themselves in you as well, because you're the one that made me feel safe as I was accepting that I do now have a new disability, that I think it's such an incredible opportunity to give space for other people to say, oh, there's someone else like me that's gone through this, some version of what you're sharing. So I was speechless at first, just because I've never heard you share all these things out. And so thank you.
Thank you. Someone really close to me recently told me that I had never actually told them about my experiences. I'm used to not saying anything, and I'm used to not sharing those things because they're not usually pertinent, or they're usually held against me when I share them. So for the most part, I haven't.
So what has allowed you recently to come into this and grow from this?
My rage. Seriously, I'm just I'm fed up. I'm fed up. I'm fed up. I want to just live, and I feel like I can't breathe. I can't live if I don't come to the table with all of the disparate parts of myself that I've thrown around. I can't do my work. Look what you done made me do, Lawrence. I can't do my work well. I can't express to people what it means to be an intersectional person without showing them what it means to be an intersectional person. And if I'm hiding it from myself, how are they ever going to learn what it means to be a person that lives in this kind of body?
May I ask a question? So was it that
like you not sharing, was it because people didn't ask you questions or ask you the right questions?
They didn't ask the right questions, if they asked questions at all. For the most part, they wouldn't ask questions, but if they did ask questions, they were often ignorant, they were racist, they were sexist, and like they were to a child that couldn't figure out how to express what it was that was going on inside. And like getting asked like, oh, is that your real mom? I'm like, well, what's real?
Yeah, what does that
Like
mean?
she's my mom. She's raising me. She loves me. She feeds me. She cares for me. Like she takes care of me when I'm sick. How is that not a real mom? And they'd be like, no, but like, is that a real mom? And I'm like, well, what else is a real mom? Did she give birth to you? No, but does that make her any less my mom? And then they try to rephrase what I said and say, oh, she's your stepmom because she's married to your dad. And I'm like, no, she's not my stepmom. My dad didn't divorce my birth mom. They were never married. So I have two moms, and they're both real.
Yeah.
But they didn't know how to ask the questions in a way that made sense to me.
Yeah.
So I just stopped.
Yeah. Fair. I mean, it makes complete sense, like, especially if you're going to be completely dismissed, even when you give an answer.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but I was just curious because if this is something that's new for you to share in this way, in this vulnerable way now, so even as an adult, was it that people just weren't curious? Because, for example, I just met you like, 48 hours ago, if even? I already feel really connected to you. I really enjoy you, and I hope we're friends for a while.
We are.
Just throwing that out there. But, you know, like you mentioned having sickle cell, and it's hard to even know what to ask somebody who's been suffering from a disability, including you, Leah, like with everything that would happen with your eye. I find myself feeling like really, maybe selfish is the word I would use for not asking you more about it, because I don't know how to ask. And I also don't want to bring up something that maybe you like, you know, I just don't want to rock the boat, you know, sometimes. And I'm curious. It's not for lack of desire of knowing more about your experience, but it's sometimes really difficult to know what to say or what to ask. And I think maybe if you could provide us here and this whole experience with ways for us to engage in those conversations and be more curious about what disability is, you know, especially the ones that are unseen, because your eye looks beautiful to me. Like I would never know had I not known. And of course I would never know had I not known. And anybody who's suffering from depression, you know, like a deep loneliness or, you know, just something else that's like hidden. How do you ask?
Okay, so I feel like that's part of why we're doing the social experiment, right? Like what I've observed from my line of work and from just being someone who wants to meet new people all the time, who spent my life wanting to meet strangers, is that people don't ask because they don't want to impose, they don't want to be rude, they don't want to ask something they're not supposed to. Learning how to have healthy boundaries to say, you know what, I actually don't really want to answer that question. And that's not me being rude to you or offensive. It's just like, you asked a great question, but I just don't want to answer it. And that's okay, but I don't think we were ever taught that. Yeah. I think because, I don't know about you all, but I know when I was growing up, I was taught you don't ask questions or you don't talk about politics or religion or sex or money, right? You don't talk about those things. They're off the table because if you disagree, then you're gonna have a terrible experience. This is a horrible way to go. Thankfully, my parents didn't encourage that. Thankfully, my parents were like, ask all the questions, ask all of them. And I think because of that, we never learned how to have disagreements. It's why we're so polarized right now, right? We think if we disagree or if we believe something differently, then we're on opposite ends of the spectrum, so we must hate each other. Okay. And so if we ask a question that's inappropriate or crosses the line or not what you wanted to answer, then I am offensive and I'm rude, so I'm just not gonna ask any questions. Yeah. But I think we have to meet each other halfway. So like in saying, I hope that everyone starts to ask more questions and finds their curiosity, even if you're like not sure, because you can say, I'm not sure how to ask this question, but I want you to know I care and I'm curious about your experience. And I do feel like you ask those questions a lot. You're really good at it. And not just in like our like professional dynamic, like in a friend dynamic. But then we also have to meet them halfway and we have to share. Like, we have to start opening up and sharing, because that's the only way we're going to start understanding everyone's experiences, and everyone's experiences are so different. So drastically different, right? Like, that's why we have high extreme depression right now, and like the rates of suicide in young people is so incredibly high because we're so isolated and alone. And so my hope is that maybe even just from this dialogue, people feel empowered to ask more questions, but also feel more empowered to share their stories. But it's also scary if you don't feel like anyone's listening. So the more we share, maybe, I don't know. So I don't want to take away from you answering that question too, but I just wanted to call that out, that it's my hope that everybody kind of tries both sides of it.
Like, Leah's curious, I'm curious. The work that I do, like, you have to approach it with intentional curiosity. You have to be open to asking people questions, and you have to be open enough and vulnerable enough with yourself to be vulnerable with someone else. So you have to approach it in a manner that's like, I don't understand, and I would love to understand. What do you experience? Can you walk me through, if you're comfortable sharing? And I also need to then be comfortable enough to be able to say, I can walk you through within this context, or right now, or if I'm not comfortable right now, it's still too fresh or too painful, but maybe at a later time we can talk about it. And we're not taught that, as Leah said. We're not taught to be able to have that kind of dialogue where we're able to actually share who we are, our perspectives, our lived experiences, and know that this is our truth, and it may not be the same as your truth, but it doesn't make it any less true for me just because it hasn't been your truth.
Right.
And I think that's something that's missing from our abilities to have dialogue with one another.
Absolutely. So if I were to deduce this, you know, using my skills as a therapist, it's curiosity on the, maybe the inquisitors. If you want to use that. Yeah. But like, if I want to like ask questions that I need answers to, the curiosity piece is so powerful. That feels genuine and intentional, right? And then on the other side, maybe it's permission, you know, so even for me, like permission to say no, that I don't really want to answer that, or that doesn't feel good for me right now, but I hope to be able to share it at a later time. Or, yeah, actually I feel pretty healed and I can share this with you. So just the permission. So permission and curiosity, it feels like the two things we need to share